Hey guys, welcome to the garden. This morning we are going to be finishing up our rows in the garden for this year, and I have a few of them done already. As you can see here, I have 4 put down, and I've been doing this over the last week, just kind of like when I have time, coming out and putting one down and then coming out and putting another one down. So I haven't really had a chance to shoot a video about this process, but this morning, we're gonna finish up the rest of the garden, and I wanted to show you how I do it. It's not difficult, but I wanted to show you what I'm using, the products, and how I'm spacing everything out. So I started with the row that goes parallel to the fence. It actually sits up against the fence. So that's where my crazy flower row is going to be, is against this fence. And then I have 4 rows here that come perpendicular to that row in the back. So they actually tuck underneath that first row, and then I secured them with landscape staples. So there's no gap between the back row and these rows. They are layered. And then I roll them out and secure them at the end, and then I go back and secure them like kind of in the middle as well. I've been doing like 3 or 4 sets of staples every few feet down the rows. That way they stay more secure. I really like this material. This is the roll, or what's left of it, I guess, after I've done 5 rows, plus I put this underneath the greenhouse as well. This is the woven ground cover from Growers Solution. I will find the link to this and put it in the description. This was I think this was $100 for this roll. It was 200 feet or 300 feet? 200 feet. It's 3 feet wide by 200 feet long is what it is. And it is the kind of like mid-range model, I guess, of woven ground cover fabric. So it's not like the brittle, like softer fabric you can buy at like Lowe's and Sam's Club. I've used that in the past. It's been fine. There's a lot of it out here still. So I also have to clean it up out here before we can finish. There's just kind of stuff sitting around, which I actually meant to clean it up before I started shooting, but I didn't. So you can look at my mess. But this is the higher quality stuff. It's actually like a woven plastic material. Let me see if I can get like a good close-up of it. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's like a woven material. So it is a little bit thicker. Water does permeate through it, but just not as fast. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring out between each row. I staple the one end down, and I'm using these, how long are these? 6-inch square landscape staples. I got these on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. And then I roll it out, cut it with just like a utility knife, and then staple it on the other end, and then I go back through and do staples in the middles, essentially. So that is the process. I think I'm gonna have 3 more rows to do, 1 long one and then 2 shorter ones, because of the greenhouse and where it sits. So I'm gonna try to get all 3 of those rows done this morning, and then we will have the whole garden laid out with rows, and we can start putting our cattle panels and stuff back. They're all just sitting back here. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're all just sitting back there. All the T-posts and stuff are just kind of like directly below where I'm standing. So it's quite the mess out here. But once I get everything laid out in terms of the fabric, I can start putting stuff back up and we can get ready to plant. Now, the way I'm going to be planting in this is I'm actually going to be using like a blowtorch to burn holes in this stuff because it is plastic. It will seal the edges because when you cut this stuff, it frays on the ends as it would since it's woven together. But if you burn it, it's gonna seal that edge and you won't have a bunch of frayed plastic sitting around your plants. So that is kind of the process of getting the garden planted in this woven ground cover. So I am going to go get another camera battery because this one's almost dead and clean up my mess out here. And then we will get to laying this stuff out. Okay, so this row right here is the next one I need to do. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna put a cattle panel arch above this gate. So these rows are gonna be farther apart than the others. So basically I'm gonna line this up with the edge of the gate and we're gonna go that way with it. So I have 2 staples. I'm just gonna staple it in on the end and then I'm just gonna kick it down to the other end of the garden. Okay, now when I get down here, this is a mess, don't look at this. Okay, when I get down here, I roll it out, make sure it's straight. So I just kind of look at it, eyeball it. Should I be eyeballing it? I mean, probably not, but like it is what it is. Then I take my little knife and roll it onto this back row and then cut it. So it will be able to tuck under the back row here. So then I have 2 more landscape staples. Tuck it under and pull it, staple it. And same thing on the other corner. And I like to step on them to make sure they're in nice and tight. So now, all I will do is get some more staples and just kind of put sets of them every, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet to keep the whole thing from blowing and leaving, essentially. Okay, so we have our last full length row done. You are very crooked. I'll just stand at an angle. So I'm gonna do 2 more rows in this space right here between this last long row and the raised beds. But they're not gonna be full length because the greenhouse, I mean, you can see part of it, it's right here. So there's really not enough room to do another planting row here in front of the greenhouse. So we're gonna do 2 short rows that are gonna end about where the corner of this raised bed is. and then we'll be done. So these two are probably not gonna be like even at all. So I'm just gonna eyeball them, because I know for a fact that these beds are not straight. And I know for a fact that this row I just put down is not straight, because I didn't measure it. So we're just gonna wing it. Honestly, that's how I do most things out here. Usually they work, sometimes they don't. So, you know, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Also, just before anyone comments and asks what this is on my leg, that's K-tape. So I have arthritis in my knee from running and a bike accident. So it has been really bothering me this week because I've been out here so much and I had to pull up all the T-posts, and that's hard on my knees. So I have been struggling with that this week. So the K-tape helps. It just helps support my kneecap. I have like a loose kneecap situation, and it's caused some arthritis. So that helps. But it's been on there for like 4 days, so it's looking a little rough. So yeah, it doesn't usually look that bad, but it does today. So anyway, we're gonna put these last two rows down. That's why I kick the fabric and I don't like bend over and push it, because it's hard on my knees. So, and that's also why I'm in my Crocs today, because they are way more supportive than my muck boots, even though I love my muck boots. And I love looking like a hillbilly wearing shorts and muck boots. Went with the Crocs today. So let's put these last two rows down, and then we'll be good to go for planting. All right, well, we finished our roll. So that means we're done, right? I did end up putting 2 rows over here. They are a little close together, but I think I'm gonna do like melons and winter squash and like trailing things over there. So I decided that having them a little close was fine, because they're gonna take over that area anyway, so who cares, you know? That means the garden is rowed and we are ready to put our cattle panels and stuff back up, which is very exciting. I do need to take a couple days and kind of figure out where I'm gonna put everything. I kind of have a rough idea in my head, but I'm still not like totally convinced of what I want to do yet. So I will figure that out, and then we will put the space back together. I do have one row here that I need to fix. It's a little crooked, but for the most part it looks really good, and we are going to have a ton of production out here this year. So, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have less weeds. Now obviously I have walkways that are going to fill themselves up, But I am gonna re-sow some clover out here in the rows and just kind of see what happens. I have my little seating area over here. You can't see it. It's where everything is just sitting right now. It's just a mess. But I think I am gonna sow some clover over here too, and just see if I can just get that to just turn into like a little clover carpet over in this area. But yeah, that's kind of my thought for now. I'm out of fabric ground cover, so I do have some fabric like from Sam's Club in the garage still that I could use over here if I needed to. But for now, it is what it is. So we did it. The garden is ready to put back together finally, and we are getting close to planting, so that's very exciting. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate it so much, and I will see you in the next one.